Gather round, it's time to have some fun. It's your friend, let's read with Grandpa Ken.
Can you tell what the music is? Yep, it's time. We get to do another Sesame Street. I'm getting to love everyone I read so much. And today we're going to have one that I bet a lot of you know. Not necessarily the book, but you know how Emily feels. So are you guys ready? Let's do this. Every morning, Emily's mother went to work and Emily's father went to work. And Emily's brother, Teddy, well, of course, he went to first grade. And every morning, Emily went to Sesame Street Preschool. Well, that sounds like fun. See their family all getting ready in the morning and stuff. Is that what happens at your house, kiddos? Yeah, it was with ours. On the first day of preschool, Emily's mother and father introduced her to the teacher, Mrs. Brown. Mrs. Brown showed Emily her own cubby for her jacket, and she showed her shelves filled with picture books and crayons and bricks and balls and trucks. This looks like fun, said Emily's mother. Emily thought so too. Huh? Have you gone there? And well, I bet you that would be fun, don't you, kiddos? It was fun for me. I still remember kindergarten. I know. Then the teacher introduced Emily to Betty Lou and Grover and Max and Big Bird. I hope I can remember everybody's name, Emily thought. Look at, they're all there, kiddos. This is their preschool, and Big Bird is still big, isn't he? Yeah. When it was time for the grown-ups to leave, Emily's mother said, I will be back this afternoon to take you home. Suddenly, Emily felt sad. This afternoon was a long way off. Her mother gave her an extra big hug. You know, one of those kiddos? If you look out the window when Daddy and I go, we can wave at each other, she told Emily with a little kiss on the cheek. So Emily ran to the window and waved goodbye, and Big Bird waved to his Granny Bird too. Mrs. Brown handed Emily a tray of red and blue, yellow and purple blocks. She gave Big Bird some paper and a box of crayons. Big Bird and Emily sat on the floor next to each other, and Big Bird drew a picture of his nest, and Emily built a tall, black tower. Ooh. See Emily's tower? Yeah, she knows what she's doing. Well, don't you know it, Max reached and watched and then said, I like to make a tower too, he said, and he picked up 2 blocks from the tray. But Mrs. Brown gave those to me, Emily said, and they're everybody's blocks, Max said, and bumped Emily's tower, and it toppled to the ground. He knocked over my tower, cried Emily, and Mrs. Brown brought over another tray of blocks. There are enough blocks to share, she said. Why don't you build a city of towers together? Soon there were blocks and towers and houses and even a bridge. And the other children in the playgroup came over to see the city Max and Emily together had built. See, that would be pretty neat to build a city with a new friend. Then Mrs. Brown took the children outside to the playground. There was a jungle gym, a seesaw, a sandbox, and 2 swings, and everyone ran to the swings. You'll have to take turns swinging, said Mrs. Brown. Betty Lou and Max were the first to the swing. When it was Emily's turn, Big Bird pushed her so that she could swing higher than anybody. Aw, Big Bird is even a good little guy, isn't he, when he's a little big guy? Oops. And then, after lunch, was quiet time. And for rest, so Mrs. Brown handed each child a musical instrument and sat at the piano. Now let's play and sing Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. At first, it just sounded like noise, but the second time they played the song, it listened to each other and it sounded like music. See, it's when you all start harmonizing and working together. It's story time! Not only just for Grandpa, but it's story time at Sesame Street. Said Mrs. Brown, today it's Grover's turn to pick a book. Tomorrow you may pick one, Emily. Grover chose a story about baby animals, and Mrs. Brown read it to the group and showed the pictures. Then she said, soon it will be time to go home, so make sure you bring your book and anything special you'd like to show to the group. Emily knew just what she wanted to bring. Soon the parents started to arrive and pick up their children, and Emily's mother came to take Emily home. Goodbye, said Big Bird. I'll see you tomorrow. Max and Grover and Betty Lou waved goodbye too. See, they were becoming friends. That's what preschool and school's about. That night at home, everyone in Emily's family talked about the day at work or at school or at play. Emily, being Emily, had many new things to talk about. She told about the playground and the building block, the city with Max, and she told about playing the cymbals at music time, that it was her time to choose a book and story time tomorrow. And Daddy said, take a deep breath. When Daddy tucked Emily in bed and asked, am I going to play tomorrow at preschool? Yes, said Daddy, you'll go to preschool every morning. Ooh, that's good. And see, Daddy's tucking her in, huh? The next morning, at breakfast, Emily said, could we just all stay home and lounge around? No, Emily, said her mother. On the weekend, we'll all do something together. But today, we're going to work in school like we do every day, and you're going to preschool. Isn't it your turn to choose the storybook today? Asked Daddy. Don't you want to build block towers again with Max? Asked Teddy. Yes, said Emily slowly, and I have something special to take to playgroup. She ran in her room to get it. What do you think it is, kiddos? What do you think it is? Emily held her bunny with the floppy ears very tightly all the way to preschool. You'll meet my friend Big Bird, she said to Bunny, and you'll meet Grover and Betty Lou and Max and our teacher, Mrs. Brown. Don't worry, I'll help you remember their names. See? That's what happens, kiddo. It just becomes so much fun. I think you're really going to like playgroup, Bunny, she whispered. And there was the gang waiting for her to play. Yep. Sesame Street is a good place, isn't it, kiddos? I think so.